My name is Tim Palmer. I proudly represent Rocky Mountaineer, and hopefully I share some good information with you, clear up some perhaps misconceptions of Rocky Mountaineer, and let you learn how to book your best trip with us. So first, want to talk about some of the history. Rocky Mountaineer was founded by Peter Armstrong. Peter is still our owner. He definitely leads us in the right direction. He keeps on pumping capital into our company, which is a great thing, such as the brand new gold leaf train cars that he put out there. But Peter had a vision 30 years ago, and that vision was to connect Vancouver to the Canadian Rockies via luxury train. Peter knew that he had great scenery. He knew that he could provide a wonderful product on the train. And one of those components on the train is making sure that you have a host on board. Our hosts are storytellers. They are with you throughout the entire duration of the trip. You get a mile marker map, and they're following along with the destination, pointing out the statistics, the history, the wildlife that we're seeing. And they're also handing out alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. So their stories get much better as the day goes on. Well, Peter also knew that other than alcoholic beverages, great host talking, scenery, and a wonderful train, you also need phenomenal food as well. So we really capture the essence of the location by offering salmon from the rivers that run in the streams right by us, Alberta grass-fed beef. Even the mushrooms that we pick are from British Columbia, the wines from the Okanagan Valley in the southern part of BC as well. So after 30 years, Peter's vision definitely has come to fruition. But again, he's a perfectionist. He's hired a leadership team that is full of perfectionists as well. We continue to read your surveys, we listen to your feedback, and we improve year after year. So I said that we are connecting British Columbia to the Canadian Rockies. So for the geographically enlightened, you know where I'm talking. For those a little challenged, we're looking at North America here, and we're looking at the Pacific Northwest. I'll zoom in on this next slide, and we cover British Columbia and Alberta. For those of you that have been following us for years, you know in the past, we used to dip down into Seattle. The Vancouver to Seattle leg is no longer part of our repertoire. So at this point, you are looking at the three main train routes that we operate. So on this screen, there's a couple of icons at the top. The white dots on the map are the locations that we overnight in a hotel while traveling by train during the day. So Rocky Mountaineer is an all-daylight trip with evenings spent in hotels. On the map again, you're looking at three distinct train routes connecting Vancouver to Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. So the black dots on the screen are your beginning or end point to the train route, or an opportunity to extend your vacation. So the first train route we have is Rainforest to Gold Rush. This is connecting between Jasper and Vancouver. And I say Vancouver or Jasper back and forth. We travel east to west, west to east. So you can get on the train in Jasper, or you can get on the train in Vancouver. In this situation, we travel Vancouver to Whistler, overnight in Whistler, continue on another day up to Quesnel. I know that's all on your bucket list for destinations. Actually, if you've heard of Quesnel, you're part of the very few. This is the Rainforest region, rather the Gold Rush region of British Columbia. A town of mostly 3,000 people, the First Nations people of the area. So definitely a more remote location within British Columbia, and then on to Jasper. So that is a 3-day train tour. We also have Journey Through the Clouds. These are 2 days on the train connecting Jasper to Vancouver through Kamloops. And then the last 2-day train route that we have is between Vancouver and Lake Louise and Banff, again, going through Kamloops. So again, it's these 3 train tours, overnighting each night in a hotel, not sleeping on the train. But no one's going to come to British Columbia and Alberta just for 2 or 3 days. So we use those train routes as the base experience to build a more robust itinerary where you'll have time exploring Vancouver, where you'll have time exploring Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff. And again, each night, whether you're traveling by motor coach or by train, you are going to be sleeping in a hotel. Now, we all understand the difference between a 5-star hotel, a 4-star, and a 3-star. But do you understand the difference between the service levels on Rocky Mountaineer as well? We have a gold leaf level as well as silver leaf. So the gold leaf, as it says there, is a bi-level coach. That means it has an upstairs and a downstairs. And the silver leaf is a single level coach. The whole concept of silver leaf is big, open, and airy. This is a 14 and a half foot high train car. And, when you go inside, you notice that right from the beginning. From your elbows well past your head when you're standing up, you have a lot of glass. And I think this next slide really shows the inside of the car properly. So you have just a tremendous amount of room. The leg room, the space ahead of you really is a great experience being in Silverleaf. The one caveat to being a single level train car is dining is done at your seat as well. So you will have breakfast and lunch while on the train for the 2 or 3 days. And in Silverleaf, you have 2 options for breakfast and 2 options for lunch. Now, Gold Leaf, at this point, I always think Silver and Gold and Yukon Cornelius comes to mind. Continue to sing that song, Silver and Gold. But I digress a little bit. So when I think of the Gold Leaf level and the similarities between silver and gold, when I look out the window at mile marker 130, there's not going to be more wildlife because I am in the Gold Leaf car. The scenery is not going to be prettier because I am in the Gold Leaf car. So you have the same wine, spirits, and beer. You have the same scenery out the window. The hosts are doing the same exact narration as well. It is obvious what the difference comes down to. It's the space. It's the experience in the dining room. It's being able to go outside. So within our Gold Leaf, you have an upstairs where your assigned seat is, a downstairs for dining, and a nice, beautiful outdoor viewing platform. So for your 2 or 3 days that you are on our train, your assigned seat for those 2-3 consecutive days would be in the upstairs dome. To go downstairs from the dome car, it's a spiral staircase or a single person elevator as well. So mobility should not be a problem. However, if you are traveling with a person or you yourself are wheelchair bound, I would suggest Silverleaf as your preferred option. But otherwise, as far as mobility, I do believe silver and gold do fare quite well. So once you make it down those spiral staircase or the elevator, you are treated to white linen, tablecloth dining. You are ordering off of a menu with 8 different choices for breakfast and for lunch. The food is cooked right there in the galley. You're looking at prawns over risotto. I did a cooking class one time with our head chef, JP O'Clair. What a great experience. I learned how to cook salmon and risotto. When I got home, my wife did not believe that I took a cooking class because it did not turn out very well. We ordered takeout that night. But nonetheless, the food on board is not cooked by me. It is curated by our head chef, and they produce a wonderful, wonderful meal while traveling on Rocky Mountaineer. And then you have the outdoor viewing platform in Gold Leaf as well. So from upstairs to downstairs to outdoors, the price difference, the value definitely carries into the Gold Leaf experience. So when booking Rocky Mountaineer, you have to think about the route. Am I going to go up to Jasper? I'm going to be on the train for 3 or 2 days. You have to think about the service level. Do I want 5-star, 4-star? Do I want Gold Leaf, Silver Leaf? And then you have to think about when do I travel? So we operate April through October. April, although it's spring, meteorologically speaking, in Vancouver, you have cherry blossoms. The flowers are blooming. It's becoming very green. Lake Louise, however, will have 2 or 3 feet, maybe 4 feet of snow. The ice in the lake does not come out until June 1st. So you have still a winter element in the Canadian Rockies when traveling throughout April, mid-May, if you will. By June 1st, again, the ice is out. That's what we'll consider the start to summer. And summer, abundance daylight, warmer temperatures. You start with a little bit of wetter time in June, a drier time as you get to August. And then as we get into September, autumn really is a tale of two seasons with us as well. The fall foliage does not meet that of the Northeast. They don't have the same hardwoods, the maples, etc. So you have a lot of yellow from the aspen. You have the green from the evergreens, the blue coloration of the waters. And then eventually you start to get snow on top of the mountains. And what you're looking at here is the September autumn, and this is October autumn. So there is quite a contrast, even just dipping into the first 2 weeks of October, where a winter element will start yet again right in front of you. So you've thought about your season, you thought about your service level, you thought about, what route you're going to take. Well, what happens on the train, you may be asking, and what is a full day like, and will I be bored, or is it going to be captivating? So I'm going to work left to right here on your screen. Typically, people that do a train ride with us are doing more than that, and they're spending a couple of nights in Vancouver. So we would greet you at your hotel in Vancouver. Make sure that you know what train car you're going to be getting on, what your assigned seat is for the next 2 or 3 days. We also give you your luggage tags. We ask you to keep your luggage inside of your room. We actually pick that up separately from you. Your luggage is put onto a truck. It does not come on the train. That truck inevitably gets to our destination prior to the train, and your luggage is in your room when we actually arrive at the station in our next destination, Kamloops perhaps. So the wheels on the train start rolling at 8 a.m. Boarding starts at 7:30 in the morning. Your transfer from your hotel may be 6:30 in the morning in Vancouver. We start with a non-alcoholic morning toast. The alcohol doesn't start to flow until about 10 a.m. on the train. As far as food goes, breakfast is immediate. If you're traveling in Silverleaf, we will start the whole train car together for breakfast. If we start in the front row for breakfast, for lunch, we would start perhaps in the back row. The following day, start in the middle. We try to be fair with who we start with. In Goldleaf, well, we have about double the people upstairs as we have seats downstairs. So we do have to split the Goldleaf into two seatings. If you're seating one on day one, you'd be seating two on day two. If you are seating two, well, you're going to be delayed a little bit. So we bring a scone with coffee and tea right to your seat for breakfast. Before breakfast, you would go down there after. And before lunch, we bring a cheese and cracker plate up to your seat, have some wine as well. The scenery doesn't stop. We're only traveling at 25 or 30 miles an hour as well. And when we get to a true scenic vista, we slow down to a crawl, maybe 5 miles an hour. You're going to continue to hear your host on board. Your host is right in your train car. So you're not hearing narration across the speakers through the whole train car. Your host is reading the group. They're making sure that you're paying attention. And if you're not, maybe they're saying too much, maybe they're not saying enough. So they're really there to be an extension of the trip and make sure all expectations are met. When we arrive in our destination, a fleet of motor coaches pull up. You simply walk off the train car into your motor coach. You have your room key in hand. You don't have to go check in. So you're simply walking up to your room and your luggage is already there. We repeat the same thing the next morning, leave the luggage in your room, and we continue off for another 10-hour day on the train. So here it is in kind of real life motion. When you hear the bagpiper piping, it is time to board Rocky Mountaineer. We start with our non-alcoholic morning toast, and then we continue on with some amazing scenery. Now in Silverleaf, the screen on the picture on your screen right now should be two of our Silverleaf cars right in front of beautiful mountain. The little back door is an opportunity in Silverleaf for you to put your head out. I know it's not much, but it's still nice to be able to put your head outside, feel the wind in your hair, and breathe in that beautiful Rocky Mountain air. So, well, that's almost the name of our company, isn't it? But Rocky Mountain Air at that point. Nice ways to see the countryside as we're traveling at a comfortable pace. A lot of people like to take a picture of the train as it's going around a bend. Now, we're traveling from the rainforest region in through a desert region in British Columbia on up to the high alpine of the Rockies. So when you get into this semi-arid desert region here of British Columbia, the wildlife is going to change as well. You'll start to see the bighorn sheep, more deer, lots of osprey eagles, little varmints around as well. So while we're traveling by train, you're going to continue to be looking for that wildlife. Even when you're dining in the Gold Leaf train, the dining room there in the Gold Leaf car, you'd be able to see out your window, perhaps catch a glimpse of a black bear on the right. And that's just what happens. So as our conductors and staff are looking out the windows, we're all connected by walkie-talkie. And they'll hear moose on the left or black bear on the right. And you'll be on lookout for that as we're coming up around a bend or around a corner. So wildlife is definitely abundant. And then just the beautiful scenery. So this picture always makes me think of the different seasons that I've seen Pyramid Falls. Pyramid Falls in April or May may still have some ice on it, just coming out of a thaw. It is majestic. June, early July, it's engorged. It's now raging. You may even feel some of the spray from one of the open viewing areas in silver or gold. And then now this is a September image. The falls itself in a good format and flowing nicely. But this is a good location that we slow down to a crawl. So everyone's going to be able to get a picture of Pyramid Falls. But folks, no one's going to come up to the Canadian Rockies and travel in British Columbia for only 2 or 3 days. So we have a lot of partners throughout Vancouver, Vancouver Island, out through Alberta, up and down the Icefields Parkway, that really complete this vacation experience. So this is the next thing you have to think about. How many days do I have? How much time do I want to put into exploring Vancouver, Victoria, perhaps go up to the Sedona Resort as well? Vancouver, I love it to death. Phenomenal city, lots of great activities. The public market, this is a location that has multiple food vendors, lots of great shops. There's even on Granville Island right there, a great brewery. So at least 2 nights is what I would suggest as a bare minimum while visiting Vancouver. Spend at least 2 nights there. When we get into Jasper, we're now doing this by motor coach. So whether it be you getting off the train in Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff, or maybe you're starting in Jasper, Lake Louise, Banff, your transportation between those 3 cities and Calgary will be by motor coach. Or if you wish, a lot of people are doing this, do it at your own pace. Get a rental car. Do a self-drive down the Icefields Parkway. Obviously, there's a benefit to going with a motor coach with narration and knowing that you're going to see the key sites. But if you are an independent traveler, by all means, we can accommodate your desire to go at your own pace. Either way you travel, we can do all of the planning for you. So when traveling through Jasper, it's a must to get over to Malign Lake, to see Spirit Island, to just soak in the beauty of Jasper National Park. Coming down the Icefields Parkway, well, you're going to want to make a stop at Athabasca Glacier. This is part of the Columbia Icefield. We go up on the snow coach here. This snow coach, the tires you're looking at are 5 feet tall. They're $4,000 each. Just the ride on the snow coach is worth the price of admission, but then you're standing out on 2,000 feet of ice. And little professional tip here, the blue ice, it's slippery. Don't step on the blue ice. You have an opportunity to go to the visitor center, go over to the skywalk at the Columbia Icefield. You can see all the moraines. You see how the glaciers have receded over the years. Beautiful view. And if you have a friend that's afraid of heights, bring them right out there. That's a glass walkway. They'll love it. Moraine Lake, Valley of the Ten Peaks, the watercolor is real, folks. It's this color because of glacial silt, rock flour. So the rock flour never quite settles. And when the sun reflects off it, you get this pristine, beautiful emerald color. Matter of fact, one of the first surveyors that went through, poor guy, he named the first lake he saw, which was Lake Louise, Emerald Lake. He named the next lake Emerald Lake. There was like 5 emerald lakes that day. So this is Moraine Lake, again, Valley of the Ten Peaks. And a lot of people ask me, when is the best time to go up and see wildlife? The wildlife changes. The spring awakening is going to bring your moms and cubs, perhaps. As you get into fall, you get the rutting of the elk and moose. So the males coming down with their harem, looking to continue their lifestyle there. So definitely different ways to see the wildlife, but you will not be disappointed. The elk come right into Banff. The elk come right into Jasper. As you're traveling up and down the parkway, you're going to see black bear. You're going to see that wildlife. Really, really amazing experience that Alberta has to offer in the Canadian Rockies. Well, it's not just all about beauty, but Lake Louise certainly does shine when it comes to that. You have Victoria Glacier in the back, but we do have to sleep somewhere, and what better place than the Chateau Lake Louise itself. This is a beautiful Fairmont property. One thing that people often assume they're going to get is a beautiful view out of their hotel room when they're traveling with us. That is something that hotels charge a premium for. Not to say you can't have it, but we do need to know in advance if you want to definitely confirm your view in the morning when you wake up, or would you like to take what they call run of house? If you ask for 2 queen beds in your room and you got a run of house room, you would just be put anywhere that they have 2 queen beds. But if you said, oh, I want 2 queen beds and I want to wake up looking out over the glacier and the lake, well, then there's only a few rooms that they can put you into. So there is obviously, a premium that coincides with that. Either way, I think everyone should be able to at least do one night, if not 2, at the beautiful Chateau Lake Louise. We also have downtown Banff and the beauty of Banff to behold. Banff is a one-street town, if you will. It's got more than 60 restaurants, bunch of places to go shopping. Really one of my top favorite. You have everything from fondue to Greek to an Irish pub to a steakhouse. I could go on and on. Obviously, a few others that you're looking at right in front of us right there. But there's more than that. Banff is also right in Banff National Park. So in the town itself, you have a great little park to walk through. You have the bridge here that crosses over the Bow River. This is also where Banff Hot Springs is. So although this may look like a local hotel pool, this is actually hot springs, natural hot spring water coming through about 105 degrees. You have a cabana up there that you can change into your bathing suit. Cost about $8 to use the hot springs itself, but what an absolute treat. And right across the street from the Banff Hot Springs is the Rimrock Hotel. So the Rimrock Hotel and the Fairmont Banff Springs, these are 2 wonderful 5-star properties, but they're about a 10-15 minute walk outside of town. I prefer staying downtown when I travel to Banff. I've had the opportunity to stay in every hotel that I'm talking about today. And the ability to just walk outside of my room and enjoy the Main Street experience is how I like to travel. This hotel that you're looking at is a true 5-star. The view that you have right now is out of the Eden restaurant overlooking all of the Bow Valley. This is truly a tremendous hotel, and what a great way if that's the way you like to travel. One of the days that we leave Banff behind and we head on down to Calgary, we do some sightseeing. Part of that sightseeing is going to include the hoodoos. You can see that beautiful emerald color in the Bow River behind it. We then head off for a gondola ride. We go up to the top of Sulphur Mountain. When you get to the top of Sulphur Mountain, you're now at 7,500 feet above elevation. And there are some walking trails. There's a great 4-story visitor center, all with elevators up there. I'll tell you, when I get up to 7,500 feet, though, I prefer to just relax in one of the Adirondack chairs that they have overlooking all of the beauty. Definitely what a impressive view that is from the top of Sulphur Mountain. After that, we head down to Banff for lunch on your own, and then we head over to Kananaskis. This is where we do a helicopter ride. This is all en route to Calgary and part of majority of our itineraries as well. So 12-minute helicopter ride over the beauty of the Canadian Rockies definitely does not disappoint. Arriving into Calgary. Now, Calgary doesn't rank as high as Vancouver does on my awesomeness list of cities, but it is an amazing destination. You're looking at the Calgary Tower there. There's the Fairmont Hotel. Calgary is a foodie destination. It's home to the Calgary Stampede. So much to do and see there. But the one thing I want to emphasize is if you don't like doing helicopter rides, if you don't like doing gondola rides, change that out. We are not a cookie cutter tour operator itinerary that can't be changed. We want you to personalize your vacation so you get what you want out of it. And we don't want to charge you for things that you're not going to utilize. So again, how do we put all this together? Here are our 2 and 3 day train tours. You have those 3 white dots that we overnight in a hotel while traveling by day during the train. And then you have the black dots to extend. So some people combine 2 of our routes together. So you're looking at the Grand Rail Circle here. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. This is a 13-day trip. So let's start in Vancouver with a night at a hotel, do a day on the train on our way to Kamloops, overnight in a hotel, continue on, another day on the train. When we get to the green dotted line, this is where we are motor coaching. So between Banff for 3 nights, Lake Louise for 2 nights, Jasper for 2 nights, all of that will be connected via motor coach. And then on the train for 3 days, connecting Jasper back to Vancouver. Again, that's 13 days, 5 days on the train, a ton of additional inclusions as far as sightseeing. What would be out of pocket in this situation would be your meals. Other than on the train, we're not going to be including any other meals for you, except for at the Columbia Icefield. I believe lunch is included as well. And as far as your member benefit goes with Rocky Mountaineer, we always do a merchandise credit. You can't buy anything else on the train. We have no out-of-pocket expenses other than souvenirs. So we give you an opportunity to take home some of that great merchandise off of the Rocky Mountaineer train. Now, your AAA travel advisors, they know Rocky Mountaineer, but they sell the world. Please go back to them, utilize them. These are a great opportunity to travel to unique destinations, and all of the suppliers want to make sure that they're training these agents very well. So we're in their offices quite often. Highly recommend you continue to reach out to your AAA travel agent. And on top of it, your friends that aren't members, they're allowed to use AAA as well.